Hey River family, it is so good to see you. We are back to talk a little bit more about Mother's Day. Hey, if you were here on Sunday, you saw, first of all, Tamara did an incredible job. And we want to explore a little bit more the mother heart of God, or what it means to be a mother in our environment. This is something that I am super excited about. I'm passionate about. I remember the first time that I read Chris Valentin's book about being a woman and what it means to empower women. And it set me afire to think about women differently. And then having 3 daughters, obviously, that's something that's always running through my mind. Yeah. And I think that there was something about loving each other well, about being a mother, that the Lord really highlighted to you.
Yeah. I think it's really, really important for us to remember how we all want to just be accepted and loved right where we're at, right? Like when I'm talking to somebody, it's very uncomfortable if they're going to point out the things that I have a mess with, right? Which is our tendency to do.
Yeah.
Why we're still like that. But instead, to have that mother's heart of just on purpose loving each other right where we're at, forgiving our faults, asking the Lord, hey, what do you think about this person? I think that's just so important. And if we remember that that's what we want, then it's a lot easier to give it away to others.
That's so good. I was a youth pastor for a long time, and I think honestly one of the things that frustrated me the most about being a youth pastor was this belief system from adults that it was the responsibility of teenagers to grow up and relate to them in a healthy way. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, who's the adult in this situation?
It's good.
You know what I mean? And so, like, why I think that's important is, like, hey, we're taking the opportunity as the mother to be the one that's doing it the right way. Like, how silly would it be for us as parents to expect our kids to have it all figured out? Like, that's our job. And so when we're mothering people, like to this point that you're saying, is like, I'm not looking for all the mistakes they've made.
Right.
I'm looking for opportunities to celebrate the things that they're doing well.
Yeah.
Because that's how I draw them to the truth and to the light and to who God's called them to be.
Right, and it is so opposite of what our nature tells us.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, how often, I remember somebody actually telling me, one of my sons had made a mistake or something, and I was like, we dealt with it, and it was dealt with great and everything, and I remember the biggest thing is like the Lord just saying, tell him he's going to be okay through all this. But when I saw that person again, who I walked through with it, the authority in the situation, when I saw him again, I said, thank you so much for handling that with grace and for helping me. And he's like, why do we think our kids have to be perfect? Yes. And because I was like apologizing almost. Yes. And I thought, wow, what a wake up moment. Yeah. Like, so true. Like, we're not, none of us are perfect, are going to be perfect. And I just know the people I love to be around are those who can accept me.
Yeah.
Where I feel like I can make a mess and you're still going to love me.
That's so good.
And it's so important because that's how God loves us.
Yes. I love the video that we watched this week for the Getting to Know Bethel a little deeper.
Yeah.
Bill talks about how so many times we think that if God's in the middle of it, it's going to be perfect. It's like, wait a minute. Like, you realize that God was in the middle of the Bible.
Right.
And how many mistakes did the children of Israel make? How many mistakes did the disciples make? And they're literally walking with God.
Right.
And so to think that just because God's there, everything's going to go well. No, like we're still people that are learning.
That's right.
And making mistakes all the time. And,
that's right.
And so if God, the perfect father, still has to clean up his kids' messes, I think we are going to have to clean up messes too.
Right.
As we're loving and mothering. So in your mind, like, what is the biggest hindrance to mothering well?
I would have to say that's an easy one, judgment, right? We have to really, really, really be careful not to just see on the outside or to say, oh, I can't believe they did that. Or I can't believe they feel that way. Right? Just to make room for other people is so important. And I think we have to fight, again, that natural instinct of the world to be judging. And, really the only way to do that is when we grow in our relationship with him.
That's so good.
Because if we have relationship with him, then we can accept where we're at. I mean, how freeing is it when you realize you don't have to be perfect?
Yes.
I don't know about you, but for me, life began when I was like, he's gonna love me.
Yes.
I don't have to be perfect, and I don't have to be thinking everybody else has to be perfect. It was so freeing.
Yeah.
And so I think with that then comes, okay, he's loving me and I'm not going to judge myself.
Yeah.
And then it's then easier not to judge those around us. But we have to be on purpose about it.
Yeah.
Because it naturally just comes. I mean, how often we driving down the road, somebody will do something, and I'm like, why, Lord? Why do I have to put up with these people? Right? And literally, I heard him say one time, because I love them.
Yeah.
And it just like touched my heart in a way that changed my perspective.
So good.
Right? And I love the verse too in the Bible that tells us, you know, the way we judge other people and the way we measure them is the way that we're measured. And that was so freeing for me, because I thought, I don't want to be judged ever.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have people just love me,
Yes,
even
yes.
when I do something really dumb.
Yeah.
Right? And so once you start seeing that and the Lord starts revealing that to your heart, it's a lot easier to see that over other people.
Yeah, that's so good. So another thing that I love that Tamara said is that we all are mothers.
Yeah.
Whether we're men or women or sons or daughters, no matter how old we are or how old we feel, we are all mothers. And so I really want to encourage you this week to take the opportunity to think about the people that the Lord has called you to mother. And that might be an uncomfortable thought if you've never thought about this before, but who has the Lord called you to nurture? Who has the Lord called you to love without accusation? To love without seeing the mistakes and the things that they're doing wrong, and just to look at them and see them in their pain and in their struggle and remind them that they're loved, that they're supported, and that they're cared about.